Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Rampage, number 2 would be A Quiet Place, number 3 would be I Feel Pretty, and number 4 would be Truth or Dare, and 5 would be Ready Player One. And I only got 1 out of 5 of my predictions right, which was kind of surprising to me because last weekend I got all 5 right, and I thought this would be a little bit easier, but turns out that number 1 was not Rampage. It was once again A Quiet Place, actually falling to another 30%. So it's having a really great steady drop instead of a drastic one, making $22 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $132 million, which is just awesome for this movie. And on the worldwide chart, it is already sitting at $207 million, which is quite amazing to me that this movie was able to take back the number 1 spot. I thought for sure that Rampage would kind of take that over for a bit since it just got to number 1, but A Quiet Place, apparently more people are interested to keep going back to it, and more people are interested to see it now. So you know what? I'm happy for it. I'm honestly a little bummed that I didn't get my prediction right, but I'm happy that this film, which I love a lot, is actually doing much better than I even thought it would do on its 3rd weekend. And the fact that it's getting closer and closer to $200 million domestically is really great to me. I hope that happens too. And of course, number 2 is Rampage, making $21 million. These two are very close together, but it looks like A Quiet Place just got the edge up a little bit more. Rampage adds to a domestic total of $66 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is already at $283 million. So worldwide-wise, Rampage has already made more money than A Quiet Place. But this is very good for Rampage. Last weekend, it still had some more to go to double its budget of $120 million. Now it's $43 million over that doubling point. So that's pretty good. I don't know if this is going to encourage a sequel. Honestly, I'm not really sure where they could take a sequel to Rampage if they really wanted to make it. I know Dwayne Johnson is all about the franchises these days, but I'm just not sure where a Rampage 2 could go, but the money is there. Clearly there's an interest worldwide, at least. Domestically, it still has some catching up to do, but similar to Ready Player One, this movie is doing really great worldwide. And now we move on to number 3, which is I Feel Pretty, making $16 million, which is actually half of its $32 million budget, so it needs to get to beyond that point. It needs to get to $64 million. So maybe domestically it'll have a chance to, but I doubt it. I don't think I Feel Pretty has that kind of staying power. It's actually a little controversial, so that might add to how this movie didn't get more money than maybe the studio wanted to. And also the fact that maybe worldwide will definitely bump it up a little bit, but I don't think domestically it's going to be a really big hit. And number 4, I didn't know this movie was actually going to make it into the top 5, but it's Super Troopers 2. I knew it was coming out. I didn't forget about it, but I just didn't know where the interest was for another Super Troopers, but apparently it was here, making $14 million, which is actually much more than the first movie made on its opening weekend, and I think almost more than its entire domestic run, so that's pretty good. Its budget is $13.5 million, so it's already a little bit over the initial production budget and is making its way to the doubling point, so that's pretty good for Super Troopers 2, a movie that I didn't think people were interested in, but people were. So moving on to number 5, we have Truth or Dare, making $7.9 million, adding to a domestic total of $30, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $38 million. So yeah, Blumhouse continuing to reign supreme in the low-budget horror film industry, even though this movie, from what I've heard, is a bunch of trash. But at least it's making a bunch of money. I really don't have much to add on to it. Moving on to number 6, we have Ready Player One, making $7.5 million, adding to a domestic total of 126, but on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 521, which is beyond the $500 million mark for this movie, which is very good. I'm so happy for this movie being able to make this amount of money, very happy for Spielberg for pulling this project off, and I'm happy that people are resonating with it so much. Moving on to number 7, we have Blockers, making $6 million, adding to a domestic total of $48 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at 67. So it's looking like it's not going to be able to get to $100 million worldwide or anything. Not that I really expected it to, but it looked like maybe due to the surprising critical praise it was getting, that maybe it would get there, but there is that kind of 50% audience Rotten Tomatoes rating that kind of shows that audiences are a little split on it. So that's probably what's holding it back a little bit, but nonetheless, this movie actually still doubled its budget and is doing pretty well for itself, so good job, John Cena. Moving on to number number 8, we have Black Panther, which looks like it will be here next, like, besides, like, some limited release, like Infinity War is, like, the only movie coming out next weekend, so Black Panther's gonna be here when that comes out. It made $4 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $681 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $1.323 billion, which is just fantastic for this movie. Like I said last week, I really don't have that much to add, just that it's fantastic. It's making this much money, and I'm interested to see how Infinity War compares. I'm sure Infinity War is going to crush it, but I don't know if it's going to make the kind of worldwide, but maybe the worldwide bucks, but domestically, that's where it kind of, we'll see on that one. Traffic is number 9, and it's a movie that I saw the trailer to once when I saw a movie. I forget which one, but I didn't know anything about it, and it looked like a generic thriller, and it made $3.8 million this weekend. The budget is relatively low, though, at $4 million, so it only needs to get to about $8 million, and maybe not even that much, considering that no one, I don't really know anyone who really knows of this movie, so they probably didn't spend too much on a marketing budget, so I'm just going to assume this is doing well, and we're going to end off number 10 with Isle of Dogs, making $3.4 million, adding to a domestic total of 24, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $39 million. Now, I looked up the budget for Fantastic Mr. Fox because no one has released the budget for Isle of Dogs yet, and I'm just doing a little comparing. The Fantastic Mr. Fox budget was $40 million, so I'm going to estimate Isle of Dogs is around there. It's not very good as far as the worldwide numbers, not being able to make a little bit more than that, but like when you look at the other stop-motion films, like at least it made at least to its initial production budget, so that's pretty good at least. And now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. I'm going to go number 1, Infinity War, obviously, but I'm also going to say it's going to make around, like, over Force Awakens. I honestly do predict that it's going to make more than the Force Awakens' opening weekend. You can predict if you think it's going to be lower or higher or not. I'm just saying it right now. I think it's going to be higher. Number 2, A Quiet Place. Number 3, Rampage. Number 4, I Feel Pretty. And number 5, Super Troopers 2. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below. And if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.